would like everyone to meet Natural Health Collaborative expert, Alexi Bracy. And she is a 20-year victor over cancer. And she cares about happiness and making people happy more than anyone I have ever met. So please tell me a little bit about what you do.
Thank you for the opportunity to be at this incredible summit. So I'm very grateful to share my passion, my joy, my love of spreading happiness. When I was diagnosed with cancer, it was definitely my mindset and commitment that I was going to beat it no matter what. There was no doubt in my mind, and I did it within a year without any medical intervention, which opened the door for me to learn about health. I knew nothing about health. And so over the years, I've studied so much about health and healing from a holistic standpoint. I've been, had taught classes at the Holistic School of Nutrition and, wellness spas and helped people along the journey. And, always had a positive, optimistic mindset. And then through another unfortunate accident, it ended my career as a chef. And so what am I going to do now? Well, in the meantime, because I had worked at various fishing lodges where I used to entertain the guests during dinner time by sharing jokes. And so I realized I had this capacity for joke telling. And so when I had this unfortunate accident, I thought, okay, well, I don't want to be a stand-up comedian, so what am I going to do? And so I took Marcy Scheima's Happy for No Reason training program, which opened more doors. And I thought, okay, so I want to approach it from a little bit more of a different standpoint, because our happiness levels are determined 50% by genes, 40% by habits, and 10% by lifestyle. So, like, for example, I can ask you, did you grow up with somebody that was always happy in your life? It could have been your grandmother. It could have been your mother. Maybe it was an aunt. Maybe it was a sibling. Well, not everybody is so fortunate, but we can change the negative thinking because our world is filled with, blaming and shaming. So, for example, a little 4-year-old girl goes with her grandfather for Sunday afternoon drives for ice cream and cookies. And one Sunday afternoon, he's sick in bed. So he asks Grandma if he could take their granddaughter. And so off the two of them go, come back in a couple of hours. And she goes running up to her grandfather's room, who's still sick in bed. And he says, "How was that?" And she says, "We didn't see any horses, asses, sons of bitches, or tree huggers. It was really boring. All Grandma did was wave and smile." So as cute as it is, it's not, because already the little girl is being taught to look for the negative. So, there's always something positive to be gleaned in a negative situation. Like, for example, my cancer diagnosis opened a door I had never dreamed. Christopher Reeves says that the happiest days of his life were his last 3 months because of the impact he made with his research on spinal cord injury. Not that he was the equestrian, not that he was Superman. As unfortunate as it is, the mother that lost her daughter to a drunk driver started the MAD movement. Again, in tragedy, you can still find something positive. So I just like to teach people to find happiness in little things in everyday life, whether it's holding the door open, whether it's a smile, whether it's a hug, or for me, I like to approach strangers at the dog park, at the grocery store, at the ATM machine, and I share a joke. And like I said, why a joke? Because behind every face, there is a story of loss, of trauma. And so for 2 minutes, I have a captive audience. They laugh out loud. But more importantly, it lowers cortisol, the stress hormone, and it raises endorphins, the feel-good hormones, and laughter has been shown to promote longevity and good brain health. So, kindness, joy, gratitude, that's what I'm all about.
Wow, and you really are. So you live what you teach. Now, springtime is a time for renewal and growth. How can we use this season to boost our happiness levels?
Well, like, for example, when you're growing a garden, you don't just lay down some seeds and hope it'll grow. You have to water it. You have to tend to it. You put the seeds underground. You make sure it gets enough sunshine. So let's, grow the happiness seeds in our heart. So how do we do it? We tend to it. We practice, we learn about it, and we share it with others, and we support our happiness growth by giving it sunshine. And what I mean by that is we spread sunshine to people that we meet through whatever way. There's so many ways we can do it.
And I know that you have lots and lots of ways that you unlock for people. So nature has been shown to improve mood and mental health. What are your favorite ways to connect with nature for a happiness boost?
Well, number one, if it's a sunny day, first thing in the morning, face the sun with your eyes closed, because it affects the pineal gland in your brain, which improves your health. Spend time in nature if possible, depending on where you live. Walk barefoot on the grass. You're really connecting to earth. Or even better, if you can, walk along the seashore in your bare feet. It's just so mood enhancing. It's relaxing. It improves your dopamine and serotonin, the feel good hormones. And what I found I really like is I hug a tree. The bigger tree, the better. And I just hug it, and it always gives me some kind of intuitive message on what I'm supposed to do, how to do it, continue with that project, start something new. It's like Mother Earth is talking to me and telling me what is the best route for me to take. And as crazy as it sounds, it really does make a big difference for me anyway. So all I can suggest is try it. And if people are looking at you hugging a tree, just ignore them. They're missing out.
I think that is really good advice. And so you go out early in the morning, because dawn light is different than later on in the day.
Yeah, so like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, depending on when your sun has risen, and it really does make a difference. You get that vitamin D right away as well.
Right. So you emphasize gratitude and kindness as keys to happiness tools. How can we incorporate these into our daily life, and whether we're solo or with our family?
Yeah. So like, for example, gratitude, we forget to thank people that are in service for us. Like the Red Cross, the barista that serves coffee, the gas attendant that's pumping gas in your car. So thank them, even though for them it's just a job. Make them feel like they're important. But don't say just thanks. Say thank you, and look in the eye. And possible, ask their name. So thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Alexi. And when somebody does something nice for you, don't just say thanks or give them the thumb. Say thank you. It makes such a big difference. I show kindness by offering the person a cup of coffee, holding the door open for a stranger, helping the senior lady with her grocery in the trunk, that buggy bag. I mean, I'm a senior, and I even do that for people that maybe are even younger than me. And I offer a compliment to the person that's holding the door open for me. If it's a younger person, I'll say, is your mother alive? And most times they say yes. And I'll say, well, thank her. Tell her she's done a good job. Smile on his face. And then when he shares it with his mom, she's going to be proud, and she's going to smile as well. And if the person is older than me, sometimes a gentleman, I'll say, it's before beauty. And again, he will smile. So there's little things you can do just to make people smile without even thinking about it. When you ask a person, have a good day, so generic. What does have a good day mean? Does that mean don't burp in public or spill your coffee? Have a good day by, I hope your day is filled with smiles and joy in your heart. Or I hope somebody does something for you. Do something nice for another person. When we had COVID and we were all standing outside lined up 3 stores, I'd buy a bouquet of flowers, and I'd hand one to all the women in the line. So it just puts a little smile on your face. There's little things you can do without even thinking about it.
Wow, that's a great idea. And it sounds like you've created habits around making happiness matter. And
Well, I
I
have.
think that is wonderful.
Yes, I do a weekly short video on LinkedIn when I give little tips like this. And I've been getting really good responses that people go, it's just so simple. It doesn't have to be something that, is going to cost you a whole lot of money, takes some of your time, thoughtful things that people never think about. Like, for example, I have two dogs that get a lot of attention. And so people are petting my dogs and they'll say, oh, your dogs are so beautiful. And I say, it runs in the family, and they laugh. And then as they're petting my dogs, I'll say, if I get on all fours, will you pet me too? Nobody's taken me up on that challenge yet, but I would do it. And then again, I'm standing at a stop sign with my dogs, and they're sitting beside me, and I give them each a treat. And there's a 4-year-old little girl there with her mother, and she's watching me this interaction. And so I say to her, little girl, do you want to give them a treat? Well, her eyes are as big as saucers. And so I put a little treat in each one of her hands. She gives them to the dogs. She sees me 3 weeks later walking down the street with my dogs, and she remembers.
Wow.
I mean, it just really feeds my soul to see other people happy, especially a little child, because then, she'll probably grow up not being scared of dogs.
That's really wonderful, because there's so many people that are afraid of dogs, and we don't think about that. So
Right. And there's
you are
some
using
people they grow
happiness
up.
to get rid
Yeah.
of fear.
That's true.
That is profound.
Yeah.
I thank you for that.
Yeah.
So what I also want to ask you, and I know this is going on a little time, but why is happiness so important, not just for our well-being, but for our overall health and happiness and relationships?
Well, there's so much anxiety and depression and even suicide today, especially among our youth. When you teach them, to be happy about little things and to do kind things for your friends, your teacher, your neighbor, your parents, you take the negative focus off of what's bothering you, because you're going to make somebody happy, and it raises the emotional frequency of your body. And we want to vibrate, according to the teachings by David Hawkins, to a higher vibration, because that also wards off disease. And so when you're mentally and emotionally more stable and happier, you make better decisions. Many opportunities come up for you, and people want to be around you. What happiness pill are you taking?
Wow, that is also an amazing point. Now, given what's all happening in the world this spring, for those who are feeling stuck in a rut or struggling to find joy, what is one small step or more that they can take starting today to start shifting their mindset towards happiness?
Well, like everybody's fighting some kind of battle. So wake up each morning. Number one, give yourself a self hug. Everybody likes a hug. So give yourself a self hug for at least 1 minute, standing up and saying positive I am affirmations. I'm kind. I am lovable. I'm a TED speaker. I'm going to finish my book today. I'm going to have lunch with my friends. Whatever it is, for 1 minute, that puts a smile on your face, because you will feel so much better. And then really commit to either putting a smile on somebody, at least one person putting a smile on somebody's face, or showing kindness, or showing gratitude, or all of the above. And I tell you, it will make you feel so much better, and the receiver as well. And it raises dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, the feel-good hormones. And you'll have a better day, have a better outlook, because you made somebody's day a little bit better. And you never forgot to give yourself a hug, because you deserve a better day as well.
Well, I think that if people really listen to this video, they should listen to it more than once, because you have had so many ways to explain how people can change their life, really transform this spring. And what do you think? Do you think that people, given everything that's going on, do you think that people can transform?
Absolutely, without a doubt. You look on whether your cup is half full or half empty. And there's always things to be grateful for. Be grateful that we have water, that there's sunshine, that we have food, that we have a bed to sleep in, that we have friends that we can see, that we can hear, that we can, share inspiring things and do kind things for people. And the kinder and the more grateful you are for all you have, you stop grumbling about the things that aren't working or that you don't have or what's going on in the world. Don't focus on the negativity in the world. Focus on the positivity, because there's always something positive in the news. But unfortunately, good news does not sell.
Oh, that is absolutely true. And when we focus on what we can do, we can easily go back to nature. And I don't care if I lived in New York City for a long time. There's nature everywhere. And we can go forward to abundance. So I want to thank you so much for all your pearls of wisdom. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
A lady comes to a screeching halt in her car behind a senior who has stopped his car before the light has turned yellow. And she's irate because she's going to be late for her meeting. And so she's livid inside the car, and she rolls down the window and sticks out her finger and utters a few not very nice words. Meanwhile, a police officer has been watching this transaction, and he comes up to her and says, "Can I see your driver's license, please?" She hands him the driver's license. He says, "Let's go down to the precinct." So while at the precinct, she's sitting there for an hour. Finally, the policeman comes out, hands her driver's license, and she says, "Can I ask why I'm here?" And the policeman says, "Well, when I saw what your bumper sticker said, only you can make peace, offer a hug, give a smile, I thought you must have stolen the car." So the bottom line is walk your talk.
That is so true. Well, thank you for such wonderful wisdom that you shared.
My pleasure once more. And may your day be filled with smiles on your face and joy in your heart.